And of course, here is where we are today, talking security. Yes. There is terror, and of course we had these terror threats or the warnings, and yesterday. I do not know where you were yesterday, General. Let's first of all start with...
I was in Rukunjiri.
You were in Rukunjiri. How did you receive this news, and what was your immediate reaction when you got this news?
Well, of course it was shocking that, you know, the terrorists were so daring to come and approach Central Police station and blow themselves up. Yeah, however, I was not surprised because we know, we have been following the plans of these terrorists. And they would have done many more bombings, but security has been, you know, ahead of them. Okay. And many were aborted before they happened. Okay. But we know that ADF is there, and we know that they are planning to terrorize Ugandans, innocent Ugandans, indiscriminately. From a security point of view, I knew this was, these were two that have happened, but which we knew they were in plan. Okay. Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you, General. Now, just a while ago, about a month or two ago, we had a warning from the UK government saying, putting us on this alert. And from then on, we saw one bomb go off in Komamboga. I think that was in October. We saw another in a bus in Impigi. Then subsequently, there were these one in, I think, in Nakaseke and in Nakasongola. When the terror threats came on, of course, the complacent Ugandans didn't take them very seriously. And when we had the bomb that went off in Komamboga, they said, oh, but how can a bomb just kill? You know, we downplayed it and we didn't look at it in comparison to what we had here in July 2010 when we saw what happened at Lugogo at the Chadon rugby grounds in the Ethiopian village in Kabaragala. And of course, the one that was also foiled at Makindi House. We didn't seem like it's a very big threat. But from that time on, we're seeing this happening. What needs to be done, especially from our side as Ugandans?
Well, first of all, you have talked about so many things, including Semuto. Let me start with that one. Okay. This was a grenade which had been given to some old lady, and the children played with it, and it went off and killed the children. So it was not a planned terrorist attack. Because criminality goes on, even if they are these terrorist attacks, the criminality goes on, accidents go on, and so on and so forth. But to come to your point, we know that the ADF has been here for a long time. And we were unable to dislodge them because they had safe haven in the eastern Congo, where they hide, where we couldn't reach them. But as you know, other groups, terrorist groups, have come and have been quashed, and they have left, including the most recent Joseph Kony. Yes. So they are at it, they are planning, they have sleeper cells within the community. They confuse some people. They take them, recruit them, take them to Eastern Congo, train them, send them back, lying to them that they are going to give them jobs. When they reach there, they teach them, indoctrinate them. Yeah, change their thinking. And by force, initially, because we have information and videos where if you
is it done by force? Isn't it voluntary?
No.
It's not voluntary?
No.
How do they recruit them?
Or initially, I said initially. Initially, it's by force. When you go there, you find that there is no job you are going to do, but you are going to be involved in these activities. If you have doubts, they behead you. And in front of people, cut off the head and it rolls down there. Then you have no choice but to conform.
Those that are remaining,
yes,
they can actually see what has happened to their colleague.
Yes. Yes. So that's what happens. And then they come, they teach, like in Subuga, in Rweza. They mislead people about so many things. That, you know, this is a good cause. When you die, you go to heaven, or what? They confuse. They mislead. They want to send people to a beautiful place where they themselves are not ready to go.
Or where they've even never been.
Yes. They are not even ready to go.
To that beautiful place.
To that beautiful place, but they send there other people. So it's a very unfortunate thing.
Okay.
So our work is to make it impossible for them to terrorize our people, like we have done for a long time, the security forces. When we identify them, we stop them, even before they carry them. They carry these attacks. But most importantly, is to teach our children not to be misled into these activities which endanger their lives and also the lives of innocent people. Because these bombs at CPS or at Parliamentary Avenue, anyone who was going about their business could be killed. And indeed, some were killed, some were injured. This is unfortunate. So this is, of course, a very unjust fight. They have no good cause to convince people, and that's why they terrorize them, as the word goes, to create fear in them. But you can't be forced to follow someone because you fear. No.
General, this is actually confusing to we the Wananchi. When we saw the bomb blast in Komamboga, because it was at a happening place, we said these are people who are going to eat and drink. They were enjoying, they're drinking, they're doing all the things too. It's a place for happening. Then, when we saw the one that also killed one in Swift bus, then we possibly thought the target was these passengers who were transiting or traveling. Now, the explosions that happened yesterday happened in very strategic places. Now, when you look at the Central Police Station, you have the courts here, you have the banks here, the Central Bank is here, the African Development Bank is just right there, you have the headquarters of Centenary Bank just right here. Come to Parliament Avenue, where you have the Parliament, you have the headquarters of prisons, you have the Ministry of Justice here, you have the Ministry of ICT here, you have the IGG's office, you have quite a number of very big prime places, and it just keeps everybody wondering, because we normally tend to think that these lapses happen to us in the market areas, in the other crowded places or so, where we don't seem to be very vigilant. But the targets seem to be very confusing now. Doing a comparison of the Komamboga Digida happening place and Parliament Avenue, what could be happening that we Ugandans now need to know? Because all of us now are not safe.
Yes. Of course, remember, these are not armed groups identifiable. No, they are dressed like you and I. They are going about their business like you and I. So the point of first check is the checkpoint, like at the police. That's where they made with security. And they didn't go beyond. Of course.
To go beyond that?
That's where you would say there is maybe a problem of security. But they were now moving in the community like any other person. Yeah, because they are not armed. No, they are people who appear to be like any other person, but with bad intentions. There are many people with packs
on their backs, yes.
On the students, the businessmen, and so on. But this one was carrying an explosive. So how would security know?
That this is an explosive?
Yes, you cannot
not
check.
A laptop of a
you cannot check every person.
With a bag.
You see, the important thing is to check when someone is going to enter all those strategic places you are talking about, the courts, the police station, and so on, to enter, because the intentions of the terrorists would have been to blow it up within those buildings, but they didn't reach there, because that was the first line of check of security, and they never went beyond. So security definitely did its work, because it could not have detected this person before. But the other thing is that you saw the cameras looking at him.
The footage, yes.
Footage. And you could see, I saw myself, that when he got near the checkpoint and the two police patrol cars parked, he talked on phone, which means there was someone he communicated with. Now, he could have been a suicide bomber, but there is a very strong likelihood that actually he was not a suicide bomber, but he was carrying an explosive, and the person who talked to him after that detonated what he was carrying on his back. He may not have known that he's going to blow himself up.
Oh, that's the other likelihood in that.
That's another likelihood, very strong likelihood, that these people, either they are given something to carry.
Please take this there.
Take to Uganda. Then they say, when you reach there, someone is going to come and pick it up
from you.
So because they are following, so after getting where they want him, then they call another number, which is in the explosive, and it detonates. So the poor man dies carrying a pack to X.
That's another likelihood.
That's another likelihood. And that is why people should now be vigilant. In the vigilance we are talking about, they should also not accept to carry things they don't know, because it could be a dangerous thing. Yes.
Okay, just last actually talking to my border friends, telling them you carry a passenger on your motorbike and they're carrying a bag on their back, and that you do not know what they're taking, but because they're giving you 5,000 or 10,000 shillings to take them to a place, I think the vigilance needs to be carried.
The border person has a right to know what the person he's carrying is carrying.
If you don't want to expose, if you don't want to leave, then let the border go.
Yes, you say, what are you carrying? You say,
because if
books.
it blows on you, it blows on all of us.
Yes. So ask you, I want to carry you, but what are you carrying?
Okay.
And check.
Okay. General, let's talk about the transnationality of crime. A few days ago in Kenya, 3 very notorious guys ran from the maximum prisons of Kamiti, and one of them was actually sentenced to prison to serve, I think, 41 years. He was the mastermind, somebody called Mohamedi. He was the mastermind of the Garissa attack at the Garissa University in 2015. And drawing you back to 2010, when we had the bomb blasts here in Lugogo and in Kabalagala. Yes, many of those actually who masterminded these attacks were arrested from across the borders in Kenya, in Tanzania. And I'm just looking at it from that other perspective. When we talk about domestic terrorism, do we tend to only think it's something that is orchestrated amongst our communities here, or we also talk about transnationality of crime in the region?
Yes, we are aware that ADF is in close contact with the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. We are aware. And we are aware that they intend to really go into the whole of this region, from DRC up to Mozambique. They are already in West Africa, as you know. So it's not it's domestic in a sense that they are using the locals and these improvised explosive devices locally made. It is in that sense. But we know that the connections could be beyond.
Okay.
Yes.
What needs to be done? Because when we arrested one of their leaders, Jamil Mukulu, he's in our prisons here. Many people thought that maybe that was the end of DDF operations. Even with their high priest in jail, the activities seem to be carrying on and going on. What needs to be done, and what next? Because even when the high priest is actually curtailed somewhere, he's incarcerated somewhere, these explosives or explosions are carrying on. Isn't this worrying too?
No.
We who do not know anything about security.
No, when Mukulu was jailed, another one took over. Baruku took over. And actually, it caused problems, terror within their camps. Because he was more vicious. He killed his wife, the daughter of Mukulu, and took over. Yes, he was married to Mukulu's wife, daughter, and whom he killed, and started his own. He's not under Mukulu, he's there. He's the one now in charge of ADF. And he killed so many of Mukulu's followers and so on. So, and he's carrying on that terrorist philosophy of theirs, and there is information that he's working more closely with the IS. Yeah, so the important thing is that they are not popular, not even here in Uganda. There are few people they have confused who are in these cells, but most of the people they take, they don't tell them that you are going to go and participate in terrorism. No. They tell them you are going to get jobs. When they reach there, they find themselves in the camps. They get scared. Some escape and manage to come and tell us. Yes.
Okay. So, General, there's another school of thought that these young men who are lured into these terrorism activities, maybe just out of the regime, one, they'll cite unemployment as a big problem. Now, you notice that it's not just a Ugandan problem. It's a problem as well. Domestic terrorism, or the rise in such insurgencies and the rise of militias is not just a Ugandan affair. It's happening on the continent. It's happening globally. It's in the US, it is everywhere. But back here, when you cascade it home, they will tell you that one of the problems is because majority of these youth do not have what they are doing. They're not employed. And I think because of that, the fighting the regime to see that maybe they overthrow the government, things to change for them to get there. There's that school of thought also, and I don't know how you're addressing that.
No, that is not correct.
It is not correct?
No, it's not true that people are joining these terrorist groups because they want to remove the regime. No. It's indoctrination. It's a philosophy they put in their minds. If that was the case, why would they be attacking in these countries? I've told you about the Islamic State of Central African province, including all the countries. All the people, some are happy, like Tanzania. Why are they in Tanzania? You see, they want to establish their imagined hegemony or a caliphate. We are supposed to be a province of part of the Islamic State. So they tell them it's a jihad. When you die, you go to heaven. It's that kind of thing. It's nothing to do with the government.
Okay.
There may be people who would wish, and they think the attack was against the government, but it's not against the government. The people who are affected, as I said, are not the government people. They are not attacking government installations. They are attacking places, just causing terror to everyone, killing indiscriminately. That can't be people with a plan to take a government. When you start killing innocent people in a bus, at a roadblock, on a street like parliamentary avenue. These are not people with a political agenda
and I think,
against the government.
Yes, and I actually think you've made some very good and important revelation to me also. If these people are actually looking at overthrowing the government, then are they doing it to this government and the government in Congo and the government in Central Africa and the government in Mali and the government everywhere? Do they want to overthrow all the governments in one? And I think that's some very good revelation that also just comes to us here. But by and large, of course, they want to, like you said, when we had the attack in 1998 at the embassy in Nairobi and in Tanzania. Of course, that's the time that Al-Qaeda introduced itself on the world stage before we saw the 2001 attack on the Twin Towers. And now, these have now imprinted themselves onto the world stage that they are here. Even after the death of Osama bin Laden and quite a number of those others who took over even from him, we don't seem to see this thing really ending. When you come to the African agenda of 2063, one of the missions there is to silence the guns and quite a number of things. But with now the rise in domestic terrorism and the militias also increasing, then what needs to be done from us? Because these people are looking for public relations or whatever it is. Even a mention about them is just good enough to say we follow their plan or all the things. What needs to be done in general? Because for the people, especially in Uganda, we are not used to these explosives or explosions. That's why when such a thing happened to us, like it did happen yesterday, we had gone away from all these explosions for 10, 11 years. And now the terror that comes with it, people do not even know how to respond. We run to where it is, we just scamper and run everywhere. What needs to be done?
No, we, first of all, as security, we are doing our work, and we have information. As you know, we have over 80 people in prison, arrested. These people give us information. This man who was killed, who was initially arrested in Katoke, in Bwaise, he gave information. So we follow that information and follow them and stop them from carrying out their activities. And we have done that a lot. There would have been many more, but we foil them before they happen. And we will continue to do that, and working with our neighbors, God willing, we will even find them in their safe haven and deal with them and dismantle them there, destroy them. But the important thing now, as I said, because they live within the population, we need vigilance.
Vigilance from the public.
Yes, the public. In any case, these people are attacking the public. So it is in their public interest to make sure that anybody who is going places is searched. Don't carry things which are, people don't know what you are carrying, whether in a bus, whether in a restaurant, whether in a bar, whether in a church, whether in a school, whether in a mosque. People check, like we did in 2010 after those bombings. Everybody was ready to be checked. We should accept that this is an international problem, just like COVID. Like they check, they sanitize. There is an international, yes, we put on masks, we have accepted it. We should now accept to be checked. And once we do that, we will narrow the space of these terrorists.
Okay. Well, we'll just take a short break and come back thereafter and continue the conversation. Remember, we talk about the explosions that happened yesterday in Kampala. And with us on Good Morning Uganda Extra this morning is the Honorable Major General Jim, who is the Minister for Security, but also the representative of the people of Rujumbura County in Rukunjiri District. Representing them in Parliament, we'll take a break shortly and return thereafter.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Introducing the all-new Roofing's TMX 500C rebars with cut and bend surfaces. Roofing's, strength of a nation.
The Kabaka Birthday Run 2021 is back on Sunday, 28th November 2021, and will be flagged off by Sabasaja Kabaka at 7 a.m. in support of men, good health, and the fight against ending AIDS by 2030. It will be a virtual run in our various homes and communities around Uganda, with every participant following the Ministry of Health guidelines and SOPs to stop the spread of corona. Buy your ticket today at 15,000 Uganda shillings from Airtel Shops, New Park, Chagwe Road, ShopRite Building, Benchwanuka, Tobani Center, or Bulange Mengo. You can also buy your ticket using Airtel Money. Dial *185*5#, select payments, select Kabaka Run, and follow the prompts to complete the payment. Kabaka Birthday Run 2021, brought to you by UNAIDS, CBS, BBS, and Airtel, the smartphone network.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Well, thank you so much and welcome back from that break. We continue with our conversation here, talk about the Kampala explosives. My name is Jagenda Semakola Ziksoka on Good Morning Uganda Extra, just right here on our UBC TV, hosting the Minister for Security, Honorable Major General Jim Muhwezi. With us here, of course, to highlight to us the security situation in Kampala and, of course, in Uganda. General Jim, I'm happy to have you again here. And, well, one of the other things that people are looking to here or looking at is they're relating the attacks here to our involvement and contribution to the AMISOM in Somalia. To the faint-hearted, they think we should now pull our troops from Somalia, come back home, and maybe that is what will push the Al-Shabaab, the IS, and all the others from attacking us when we let them manage their own businesses in Mogadishu and everywhere. Can you also buy that school of thought?
No, certainly not.
No.
No, because even when the ADF started, we were not yet in Somalia in the first place. So that gets Somalia issue out of the equation. Secondly, even in other countries where they are not contributing to AMISOM, they are DRC. In the DRC, the ADF is attacking the people. They are terrorizing the Congolese as well. So it's not what we are doing. As I said, this is a confused philosophy of some groups which started somewhere in the Middle East, which has now come into Africa, and they are using some of those people to come and confuse our people and cause insecurity here. But otherwise, it has nothing to do with Somalia.
Okay. 11 years ago, when we had the attacks on Chad on the rugby grounds and the Ethiopian club village in Kabalagala, we did not have cameras on the streets or in our towns. We did not have the sophisticated technology that I guess we do have today. 11 years later, we're having these attacks here, and we can now actually look and preview or review the CCTV footage to actually see the sequence of the things that they kept unfolding. Do we think, because the 2010 masterminds of that particular explosions, or those explosions, were arrested. They were arraigned before court, and Justice Owinyi Dolo convicted all of them. To those who actually came, those who were arrested. They're in Luzira, they're serving their sentences. What should we expect now that 11 years later, we are much cleaner than we were in terms of technology, manpower, and quite a number of things? What assurance do you give to Ugandans in the wake of all these things?
Yeah, the first one is that, as I said, we are stopping these things from happening. We are foiling the plans of the attackers before they happen.
Only that those not receive publicity, so the public does not know that they're actually doing this.
Exactly.
Very good.
But I saw Mr. Nanga, the police spokesperson, talking about number of them, over 100, many of them. But as you said earlier on, you see, they want publicity. They want publicity. So when it happens, it gives them publicity. But we are going to stop them. Then secondly, with these new technologies like you are talking about, the CCTV and others, we are ahead of them. And that's why we are able to arrest many. Yes, to arrest many of them. We talked, the president last night announced over 81
arrested.
Already arrested, whom we have with us. And as I said, when you arrest, the most important thing, apart from stopping him from carrying out activities, they give us information. They give us information. That's why I tell you that we know how they were recruited, what they were told. That's why we know that they are not actually fighting the government. We know, because they tell us. So it helps us to arrest them, to arraign them in courts of law, and but most important, to tell other people not to be duped, not to be persuaded to join these heinous plans.
Okay.
Because the planners themselves are safely hiding somewhere and sending our young people to go and be used and be killed and so on. So they should stop. We should be vigilant for those who are already here, to make it difficult for them to operate by checking all the taxi parks, all the bus parks, all the centers of entertainment when they are opened again, sports, churches, schools. Once we do that, and then we talk to our people not to be used by these terrorist groups, this will end.
Okay. In 2013 September, when we had the attacks on the Westgate in Nairobi, President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta had actually just come to office as president of Kenya. Then in 2014, there was another attack at the departure lounge at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport at the Java House, the cafe Java House. In 2015, they had one very bad one, one very deadly one at the Garissa University, where about 150 especially investor students were also shot at indiscriminately by those same characters. I want to draw a scenario of what I was actually seeing in the other side of Kenya, that whenever these attacks could come to them, Kenyans would forget all their tribal differences, all their political differences, and they could face the problem as Kenyans. Yes. When it comes back to Uganda here, we want to find somebody to blame. In most cases, we either push it back to the police or the security, and the political undertones and the connotations to it. What's the problem that when you have such an attack that happens indiscriminately, also again brings political sentiments to us? Is there any politics in this kind of domestic terrorism that we're discussing, General?
So as I said, from the point of view of ADF and the planners, there is nothing against the government. They have their own agenda. So it is very unfortunate and very irresponsible of anyone who looks at a threat to all Ugandans. A group that kills indiscriminately, like we have seen, all the 33. I don't know. We don't go there to check.
The 33
injured persons. I don't know what would be the
political affiliations.
Yes,
or their religious affiliations, cultural affiliations.
Most likely they will be mixed, because so anybody who now takes a stance of politicizing this acts very irresponsibly. Very irresponsibly. Security is necessary for all of us, even for an environment where we can where we can compete democratically, of course. We need an environment which is peaceful. So anybody who takes advantage of this acts very irresponsibly.
How should we respond to these attacks? Yesterday you were in Rukunjiri, of course, and you possibly saw on TVs and on social media where the things were happening. And we could see some of the people who were actually there at the scene just saying, we had this explosive, we had this thing going off. I didn't know what to do. And how should Uganda respond in such an instance? Because there was one, I think, that was foiled somewhere on a transformer next to Kochi, I think that was. But amazingly, journalists were standing there, people, and you know, when this thing actually happens, we run to the scene of crime to actually go and see possibly what has happened and maybe what to do. How should Ugandans respond to these things? Because they don't normally blow one. There are multiple that keep happening thereafter.
First of all, Ugandans should cooperate with security.
Very important.
Very, very important. They should cooperate with security, and they should get guidance from security, from the police. And as we have said before, once a crime has been committed, don't move there. Don't go into the what they call the scene of crime. Don't go there, because there is a lot of information which will help the police. Secondly, when a blast, a bomb goes off, there should not be stampede running around, because statistically, actually, many people die not because of the explosion, but because of the stampeding and accidents and so on. So stay where you are. Security will be maintained, will be restored by the security organs. Because for us in the army, they tell you when there is something, you take cover. You don't run.
Take cover.
Yes.
We hear these things and we think there may be movies.
Yes, you reduce the size of exposure by going down. Because when you are standing, you are exposed to so many things. So, but you wait, and the security will be restored, then normal activities will go on. Because when you run, you might run where the problem is coming from, actually. Yes. But these explosions, once you hear it, in any case, it means you are not dead. If you can hear it.
Once you can hear it.
Yeah, so just stay calm and wait for security to guide you. Yeah. But these are terrorists, and the government is aware. Now, with the vigilance we are calling for, we should be able to stop them completely.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, General, that's very important. And because we talk about security and the things, of course, that are happening, we now need to know. We, of course, we tending to get back into normal life, with the vaccinations and trying to see the infections of COVID-19 going low and down. That's why what needs to be done by ourselves now that we're getting back into arcades, we're getting back into marketplaces, we're getting back into places of worship, we're getting back into universities, we're waiting for schools to open in January. What are these very pertinent things that we need to get to? Because it's one thing to tell Ugandans to be vigilant, but there's also another thing to actually tell Ugandans what they really need to do to make sure that we avert many of these scares and alerts away.
No, once schools are open in January and lockdown is eased, people should go about their business. There's nothing to stop us. We are in the charge. Security is very good in Uganda, as you know. These isolated incidences here in Kampala don't mean that the country is in danger. And once we get all the information we have, government security forces are going to take action. Once the population is cooperative with the security and is vigilant and they are checking, there shouldn't be any cause for alarm. People should go about their business. as usual.
Okay.
Yeah, the security.
Security back in our places now. We just want to know, because what we're discussing is not just a Kampala affair. We just need to know from across the country what is security like in the other parts of the country. We are in Kampala, and because of this now, we have relatives away from Kampala. Of course, keep calling to know how you're doing. But what is happening elsewhere on our very porous borders? The other day we saw refugees coming in through the Congo border, and quite a number of these. How is the country by and large?
The country
from border to border.
The country is very stable, is very secure. What you are talking about, people were running to Uganda
for safety.
For safety, because the country is secure. They are running away from DRC, Congo, coming to Uganda. And as you know, Uganda is the host. We have the biggest number of refugees. I think we are the second largest country in the world, because they are running away from danger, coming to Uganda, because Uganda is secure. Yes, Uganda is safe, is secure, and it will continue to be. Yeah, and these isolated incidences, which happen everywhere. The other day in Liverpool, there was an explosion. You don't say that Britain is on fire, that it is insecure. No, they happen everywhere. So Uganda is a very, very secure country.
Okay. How do we get back to our old ways, General? Our time is running out, and I think this will be our parting shot. How do we get back to our old ways of the RC systems, as opposed to where we are today? Because the RC setting was more articulate, that you could actually know who has visited General Muhwezi, who is visiting Jagenda, who is doing what. Yes. Today we're living in villages that we even do not know what their names are, and we even do not know who the chairpersons of these villages are. How do we need to enhance that to see how to manage security at that level in the village where General Jim Muhwezi is not?
It's very important, and we are going to that. I think it's a good system, and during the vigilance we are talking about, the foundation security, we are going to revive them in the interest of the people. You know, it's very important that you should know who is visiting you. Yes, we are not. It's not a cause for alarm, but the people with centralized power. Let the people use it for their own security. Yes, because even thieves stealing in the villages is a lot. You know, so it's important that the ROC system works also in the security. Yes, you are quite right. It's part of the vigilance we should talk about, to know who has come, where is he coming from, what is he doing. You know, all that is part of vigilance we are talking about.
Finally, General, as you look into that camera, speak to the public and tell them what's your final message and what needs to be done in the wake of what is happening to us now.
Yes. No, my last message to the Ugandans is that Uganda is very secure. The security organs are in charge. We are requesting our people to be vigilant and look out for any intruders. Check everybody who is entering public places, and most important, our young people, not to be misled by these very unfair, very selfish individuals who are there safely and exposing them to danger. They should refuse to be recruited. They should refuse to be given things to carry from one place to another, and they should cooperate with security. If they see anything suspicious, they inform the security agencies, and we shall all be safe.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, General. And maybe finally, is that these suicide bombers actually do not know anybody. They have no families, they have no friends, they have no relatives where they choose to do what they're going to do. They never think about the other thing. So what they do it indiscriminately without actually knowing who will get into the it's very terrible. But like the General has said, let's all be on the lookout to report any suspicion. President Museveni, when he was just introducing was COVID-19, he actually said we rather err on caution and be on the right side. So it's important to be cautious even when we make an error. But when we are cautious, that saves our lives, as opposed to talking about the post-mortem of the things that happened and saying to ourselves, had we done this? No, we didn't. We shouldn't have to get there. Thank you so much, General Jim Ohezi, Minister for Security, and also Member of Parliament representing the people of Rujumbura County in Rukunjiri District. We thank you so much for having allowed my invitation to be here on a GME Extra. Next time we need you, sir, please allow to come back. This is the public national broadcaster.
I will.
We thank you so much. For God and my country, my name is Jagan Asemakola Ziksoka, wishing you all the best and saying good morning and bye for now.